Vegetables come from plants and all plants contain carbohydrates. So which veggies can you keep without wrecking your low carb or keto diet? I'll quickly go over 17 popular low carb vegetables in this video. Number one on my list is dark leafy greens. And these can be anything from dark green spinach to arugula to spring mix like I have here. If you follow my 0-1-2-3 strategy for weight loss, you know that leafy greens play an important role in that strategy because they are high in nutrients, high in volume, and low in calories and carbs. For instance, this is 2 cups or 85 grams of spring mix. It has only 20 calories, 1 gram of fiber, and 3 grams of carbs. That is a good amount of volume, very few calories, and a good fiber to carb ratio, which you'll find is a factor that you want to pay attention to when you are looking for low carb veggies. Some leafy greens belong to the Cruciferous or Brassica family, such as kale and collard greens. Those and other cruciferous vegetables are low in carbs and very good for you. In fact, there are several studies linking an increased intake of cruciferous vegetables to a decreased risk of cancer, and they also have a cholesterol lowering effect, and this effect is due to compounds in the vegetables that bind to bile acids, causing them to be excreted by your body. To make more bile, your body needs to use up stores of cholesterol, which has an overall cholesterol lowering effect. If you don't want to eat kale and collard greens, there are plenty of other low-carb cruciferous vegetables to choose from, including Brussels sprouts, radishes, broccoli, and cauliflower, which is a vegetable that is not only good with a fiber-carb ratio, but is also super versatile, which makes it a favorite among low-carb and keto dieters. You can rice it, you can mash it to make mock mashed potatoes, or just eat it steamed. And the secret to making it taste good is the addition of fat and spices. So cook it up with some butter, start by adding garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and then get creative from there. And with any of these vegetables, don't be afraid to add fat when you are preparing them. It will not only enhance the taste, but also help with fat-soluble vitamins and minerals in the vegetables so that those nutrients can get absorbed out of your digestive tract and into your body where they can be used. My husband likes broccoli with Alfredo sauce on top, but you can simply prepare it with butter and get the added fat benefits that way. Cabbage is also a cruciferous vegetable, and I could have easily added it to my list of 17, but I opted to add sauerkraut, which is fermented cabbage. Because the fermentation process provides some additional benefits. Specifically, fermentation promotes the growth of beneficial probiotics. So by eating fermented foods, you're helping to create a healthy balance of bacteria in your gut, which has countless benefits, from a more robust immune system to help with symptoms like bloating and constipation. Sausage and sauerkraut is a great dinner, and we often make that in our home. Let's talk about squash. Some varieties are harvested when they are more mature, so they have accumulated more starch and are therefore higher in carbohydrates. Examples of those would be winter squash varieties like butternut or acorn squash. Spaghetti squash is also considered a winter squash, but I've added it to my list because of its versatility and popularity. Just know that of all of the vegetables I have here in front of me, it has the least favorable fiber to carb ratio, with a cup of shredded spaghetti squash having about 2 grams of fiber and 10 grams of carbs. The best squash to choose from for your low carb lifestyle are the summer varieties. And these are the ones that have been harvested in their immature stage when the rind of the vegetable is still tender enough to eat. So 2 more squash varieties that make my list are green zucchini squash and yellow summer squash. You may have heard of nightshade vegetables. These veggies include tomatoes, eggplant, and peppers. You may have also heard that nightshades are not good for some people. This bad reputation seems to come from the fact that nightshade vegetables contain substances called alkaloids, which might aggravate symptoms of inflammatory bowel conditions like Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. And some people have a sensitivity to nightshade vegetables that may exacerbate arthritic or allergy-like symptoms. However, if you can tolerate these vegetables, they can become a valuable part of your low-carb diet. And what you notice is that these vegetables provide some of the deepest, richest colors that are in front of me. And these pigments have a lot of health value. For instance, eggplant has a rich, dark color, and it gets that from a high concentration of anthocyanin, which is a pigment that acts as an antioxidant in your body. So if you've ever heard the expression, eat a rainbow, what you're really being told to do is eat your antioxidants. Tomatoes, you can argue that they are a fruit, and technically that is true, but we serve them as vegetables, so they made my list. And I will say that tomatoes don't have the best fiber to carb ratio, but they get their rich red color from lycopene, which is an antioxidant with a strong anti-inflammatory effect on your body. Bell peppers also make my list, and you can go for a variety of colors. Green ones are just the first stage of ripeness. Yellow, orange, and red ones are simply more mature peppers. And there are benefits to eating a variety of colored vegetables because they provide your body with a variety of vitamins and antioxidants, which are those substances that help control inflammation and keep you healthy by destroying cell-damaging free radicals. All right, let's go on to a great low-carb vegetable choice, asparagus. Asparagus has a really good fiber to carb ratio and can be prepared in several ways, from sauteing it in a pan to roasting it in your oven or grilling it on your outside grill. It is also a good source of folate, which is a nutrient that is important during the early stages of pregnancy, which is when much of the brain and spine development is taking place in the baby. It's also a really good source of potassium, which will be important to some of you on a low-carb diet, especially if you are dealing with leg cramps or constipation. Mushrooms have a great impact on the health of your immune system and enhance the activity of specific immune cells called natural killer cells that are capable of attacking and destroying certain cancer cells. If you have breast cancer in your family history, mushrooms have been shown to inhibit aromatase activity, which can suppress the proliferation of breast cancer cells. Eat them in their cooked form for the most health benefits. Green beans and celery also make the list because they have a fairly good fiber to carb ratio and they are universally liked. So you can get your kids or husband or wife, if that is the case, to eat them. And lastly, I will include cucumbers. They contain fiber, antioxidants, and many of the nutrients I mentioned with the other vegetables. And they can be eaten raw or pickled. And that makes a great low-carb snack. Just avoid pickles that are sweet pickles because they get their sweetness from added sugar. I'm also going to give a couple of honorable mentions, and they go to onions and garlic. The fiber to carb ratio for these two vegetables is lower than the other ones on my list, making them slightly less favorable. But because they have a great strong flavor, you don't need to add a lot of them to enhance the flavor of a recipe and add to the overall enjoyment of your low-carb diet. If you have a goal of getting more vegetables into your low-carb diet, the best place to start is with my free 0123 strategy. I will leave links here on the video so that you can learn the strategy and get the free download. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I will see you back here next week. Thanks.